Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture. Listen, me or is Marvel retconning T'Challa and Wakanda? We'll talk about it after this. Shout out to Tina. She dreads me. She had placed in Twitter this little clip that I'm about to show. And this is what got me thinking about this because so I'll set it up real quickly. It is Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco on their show, their nighttime podcast show, and they happen to have Ryan Coogler on there. Now, I will go ahead and say I have not watched the whole clip, and I'm going to go back and watch the clip, watch the show to see what's going on completely. Now, I will tell you, this is it me? Or is Marvel retconning T'Challa and Wakanda? Now, in talking with all my mutuals that talk about Marvel and DC comics and things like that, I've been hearing a lot of little different stuff, and particularly in regards to recently Marvel's rollout of all who is going to be in Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday. And so they had this 5.5 hour podcast, basically 5.5 hour stream outlining the 30 people that are going to be in this movie. Now, I think they did that simply because they're getting ready to start filming and all these people are going to show up. And so everybody is going to be talking and putting out all kinds of think pieces and rumors and all these little different things out there. I think that they did that to kind of get ahead of the game and provide a little mystery. Because again, you're a Marvel fan, I didn't watch the whole stream. I was just in and out, in and out. I watched other YouTubers who were watching the stream, and I'd come in and out to see who was added onto the list. So everyone knows now who is added onto the list. I think the biggest thing now is trying to figure out how all these people are going to come together, how are they going to be unified, because whether or not we understand it or not, when Kevin Feige introduced the multiverse, they introduced these films, but they never really sat down and went over the multiverse. And in my head, I thought, maybe they could do that in different mediums. Maybe they could do that in like their Disney Plus shows, their television shows. And the one show I thought Secret Wars was going to introduce something like that. But Secret Wars got caught up in the fact that they were still trying to introduce and go over what was going on with the scrolls. And so you didn't get that feeling that the multiverse was going to be really truly introduced there. You had other shows going on. I think the only show that really introduced it and talked about it was Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Matters, and then when Doctor Strange was on Spider-Man, that version, that movie, the version of Spider-Man, y'all know which one it was. And so even then, there was really no clear-cut explanation about what the MCU means in regards to the multiverse. And so we're sitting here scrambling. Even when we went to the television shows and we talked about Loki, they really told us about certain things, but then it still wasn't clear. And then it still wasn't clear. You get an understanding. You can't figure out if it's time travel. You can't figure out if they're going to actual, because once it's time, one multiverse explanation about the multiverse is time travel. Another explanation is that you're literally going to different universes. So is it going to the so is it time travel plus going to a different universe, or can you go to a different universe without the time travel? It is those are the things that I don't think is clear, and maybe they mean for it not to be clear so it won't be so strict and rigid, because as I remember in Endgame, I think that the team went back in time with the time stones and with the infinity stones to be able to do certain things. So it they were able to go back in time. Then you see in Doctor Strange, he was able to hop through universe with the um I can't think of what was her name in the show. I know her name was wasn't her name America Chavez, her real name, but I can't think of what her name was in the show. And so they were hopping through universes. And so anyway, so we have this going on. Uh Let me get my train of thought back. So anyway, I saw this clip. It was on her X account timeline, Tina's X account timeline. So I want to show the clip and oh, where are we? Give me one moment. I have lost my here we go. I almost lost it. All right, let's go ahead and play this clip real quick and then we'll come back. I would throw my head in, but T'Challa, you know, I would throw my head in. I'm just throwing my head.
Oh man, hold on. What you doing?
Man, I would throw my head in.
Hey man, get in there. Hey man, we can talk about it, man. Hey. How you gonna take Mosquito? Can I get my role first and free?
Okay. Yeah, all this hard. That's the thing. All this hard.
All this hard. Oh yeah.
I mean, they had him already in the uniform. I'm like, okay, yeah, he could definitely pass for T'Challa.
Yeah, he could. Yeah. No, all this big shout out to all this, man. He incredible. You know, he make watches too, bro.
Does he?
But like straight up knows how to make watches, bro. Right. Wow. Like a genius, bro. You know.
Black Panther 3. How long we gotta wait?
Not long. Yeah, not long.
I mean, there's been a lot of rumors circulating that Denzel gonna be in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what the word in the street.
Yeah. I've been dying to work with Denzel, man, and I'm hoping we can make that happen. But I got every intention on working with him in that movie, and he, as long as he's interested, man, it's gonna happen. Wow. But you know, he a living legend, man, and he is, and a great mentor for so many of us. You know? All right, so we saw that. Now I was watching it, and I was watching it, and I was like, he sure sidestepped that question about Aldous. He goes back to telling him that they know how to watch and make watches. And if you're unfamiliar with that, Aldous Hodge has a small company where he makes the watches. He's been trained to learn how to time them and make them, act, whatever that discipline is called. I've seen a couple of interviews where Aldous Hodge has mentioned that. And then I started to think about this because he was talking about, he was very quick to sidestep all of that. Now, this is just me. This is coming off the dome. I'm always thinking about certain things, but is it me? Do you think that Marvel is retconning T'Challa and Wakanda on all mediums? Now we do know that there is, shout out to the Pantheon on Planet Fanatics and Chillmonger's channel. Shout out to them. You do see them on there talking about it all the time, but there is an instance where they're in the comics. It's my understanding that T'Challa is going to be pruned from the timeline, and then that made me think, because when we saw X-Men 97, we saw how every other character in Marvel was represented on that show as if it was a separate timeline, except for T'Challa. T'Challa, even though if you watch the X-Men cartoons back in the day, back in the 90s, there were shows and things like that were going on with Black Panther, and that Black Panther was T'Challa. So it's interesting to see that in X-Men 97, it's supposed to, that everybody else can be in a separate universe. And again, we saw that in Doctor Strange, where Doctor Strange was able to
him and Wanda, American Chavez, I can't think of what her name was in the show, but they were hopping from universe to universe to universe. There were Doctor Stranges represented in those universe. There were other superheroes and things like that represented in those universes and things like that. Everybody else could be represented in the universe as themselves, as the character, except for T'Challa. And then it made me think. So we know what our political situation is and all of that. Then it started to make me think that, politically there are things that are being rolled back and uh, want to be rolled back, want to be changed or dismantled, because it seems to be giving the idea that black folks in the United States are you just got too many rights, you got too many things going on, and we need to break you all back down to where your ancestors were when they were enslaved people, and we want you to do the same thing because that's what's going to make America great, and that is how the South is going to rise again. Now, I say that, and I know this is just my opinion. This is what this is, just my opinion. With that political stance, it's starting to seem like it's creeping over into television shows. It seems like it's creeping over into other different things, and particularly within Marvel. And now, mind you, and let's be clear, you when you look at the number of superheroes that are Black Americans or that are Black that are represented in the MCU, who do you have? And let's be very clear, who is in there? Name them that we've seen in the MCU. Name them. You can probably count them all on one hand, but yet there are different things going on. And one of the reasons why I think that they are retconning, because when I saw X-Men 97, that was the initial clue. I didn't have the words to be able to say what I'm saying now. I was like, wow, how is it that T'Challa in every universe, again, apparently multiverse is time travel and the multiverse is hopping universes. So it's a combination, or it's a either or a combination of both. But how is it in X-Men 97 everybody else, all the other superheroes can be a superhero or a different superhero within that particular universe, except for T'Challa. T'Challa is dead, and it seems like damn near every universe. Now I know about What If. We saw What If. They let that come on out and they let that slide. I do see that and I do remember that. But just coming forward, then you start seeing behind the scenes things that are going on, because you saw Bo DeMaio and all the mess that he went through, and now he's out of writing X-Men. They've kind of thumped him clean on out of there for whatever reasons going on, that they thumped him clean on out of there. Because at this point, it's just like, if you can't tell us what it is, then don't tell us at all. If you got a court thing, go to court, do what you need to do. But regardless of that, you're out. So whereas you had written season 1 and season 2, and there was a level of continuity, now you're out. Season 2 is going to be what? Because I definitely don't see it. They're gonna change it completely. They're gonna have to change it completely now. So whatever happened at the end of season 1, if there's gonna be any cliffhangers, they're gonna immediately sew those cliffhangers up, and they're gonna go real quickly. I don't think we're gonna figure out what's gonna happen to what's her name, Jubilee, and the guy. I don't think that there's gonna be any type of uh follow up on that. I just think that they're going to switch and change all of that. And I do think that there's not going to be, you're not going to see, I don't think you're going to see Storm in there. I don't think they're going to really hype up the Scott and the Jean Grey storyline in Wolverine. They're going to hype that up. I think that Storm is going to be over here on the sidelines with the future guy. I don't think you're going to see her. I think they're going to stick with a Sentinel story or some bad guy that's trying to revive the Sentinels and things like that. You may see more of Magneto and those types of storylines, and Magneto and Charles going back and forth, you know, how they've been going back and forth forever. I think you're going to start seeing more of that. You're not going to see all this other storylines, stuff like that. I don't think that they're going to show any of those things. They're going to retcon all of that. They're going to get rid of all of that. They're not retconning. See, they're retconning T'Challa. And then I thought about it, you know, because there is a new comic series coming out, and you all have to go over to the Pantheon. They talked about it. About there's this new series coming out where in the cartoons, in the comics, excuse me, that T'Challa is supposed to be dead. And then it got me to thinking, you've already killed him off in the MCU. You've already retconned him to where he was still a baby, but his father was the one dealing with the X-Men and everything like that. When, you know, back in the day, even when you read the shout out to Chill, because we were supposed to do a series about Black Panther, but it didn't happen. But that's okay, because we had gone back and we read the initial comic that introduced the Black Panther and T'Challa, and that was in the X-Men, through the X-Men series. And so you look at it now, he's gone, so there's no way that he's going to be able to introduce the X-Men. But what? Let me get my words right. We see going forward that the MCU and the comics, looks like the comics now are all going to be based on what the MCU has going on. I don't think that there's going to be some big delineation on that. It just seems like they're going to base everything on what the MCU's going on. And right now, in my opinion, the MCU is in shambles. And so you're putting these stories in the comic, and they're also changing the characters and how the characters have been written to their core, how they've been written at their core in regard to their powers, are in regard to their character, in regards to their morals and their values. They're changing all of these things in there too. But the MCU is in shambles. And I think that they're now hitting on gimmicks and things like that to draw you in. Like I said, they had that 5.5 hour stream just to basically tell you that, and I don't mean no harm when I say this, but just to basically tell you that these mediocre characters are going to be in the show. But getting back to T'Challa, let's get back to that interview we just saw. Did you notice how Ryan Coogler was sidestepping everything? Now, the first thing people will say, well, you know, he's doing this stuff, he can't really reveal anything. But when they actually talked about T'Challa, and when they actually put forth a person that could replace T'Challa, he kind of sidestepped, and then he got out of screen, and he was giggling excessively. That's the most I've ever seen him in all the interviews that I've seen him do. I've never seen him giggle the way he was giggling. Now, it could be just the way that Shannon Sharp was cutting up, but he was giggling excessively, but the giggles didn't seem authentic. It didn't seem authentic to me. And so that just lets me know, I think he knows that they're trying to get rid of T'Challa in the MCU, in Marvel period. I think that that was a decision made way above his pay grade. And basically, what they're doing is trying to keep some semblance of Black Panther by Wakanda for Air, doing Wakanda for what is this? What are they doing? Wakanda, is it Wakanda Forever? No, that was the movie. I call it Two Funerals and a Child, and I don't even remember what the name of the movie was. I think it's Wakanda Forever, but whatever this series that they're doing on Disney Plus about Wakanda, I think that's the only way that that he can be able to keep Black Panther esque in the thing. Now I know that Shuri is taking over the mantle and she's going to be Black Panther, but I'm speaking of the fact that I'm strictly speaking about T'Challa, because when you look at it, they have basically, with Shuri, they put her some of his characteristics onto Shuri, about being very smart and being able to vent. They put those things onto Shuri. Now, I'm not saying that she didn't have that, but I'm just saying he had a diplomatic way about him. He had he was intelligent. Uh, he was a king. He was all of those different things. So I see that they put those things on Shuri, and it looks like they're trying to put those things also on M'Baku, but it seems like they're able to control the image of M'Baku. Because I'm quite sure that he gonna be Mr. Ape Man before you know it. They gonna make him back to a gorilla child. I'm just saying. And like I said, this is off the top of my dome. It's just me. I'm just asking the questions, and maybe you all can help me answer these questions. But is it me? Do we see that Marvel is retconning T'Challa and Wakanda? And particularly with Wakanda, we're going to see now moving forward that you're going to see, you had a nation that had never been colonized and people didn't know much about that. I- I'm watching now. I'm probably what we're going to see is that a lot of countries and entities are going to come in and they're going to take over Wakanda. They're going to colonize Wakanda. They're going to go in and take their resources, take their vibranium, or they're going to they're going to take their resources and take their vibranium, and the lore of what Wakanda was and the lore of who T'Challa is just going to be your basic bargain brand, either enslaved or colonized country, with everybody else making decisions about the resources from that particular country. And then they've emasculated the king, T'Challa, and so you're not going to see anybody step up, because they're going to make sure that they let you know how they were responsible for killing T'Challa. And there is no storyline that I think Ryan Coogler is going to do, because again, Ryan Coogler has a death kink, so he's going to kill off he's going to kill off characters, or he falls into the basic tropes and all this other stuff and stereotypes of black folks. So I'm curious, but is it me, or am I seeing that? So by the time that they start doing whatever movie he is going to do for Black Panther, we're going to see Wakanda is going to be colonized. We're going to see the people of Wakanda be enslaved. We're going to see all of these little different things that are going to go on before that movie comes out, and probably you're going to see that within the realm of the comics. I don't, and you'll probably start to see that in the realm of the television shows and Disney Plus when this stuff comes out. But again, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking with all the stuff that's going on, it just seems like it's rolling in that way. But y'all let me know what you think. And if y'all got those comics from the past that show a different view of Black Panther and stuff like that, y'all better keep them and do what you need to do, because I'm quite sure if you like I was having to use, because I didn't have any of the comics, to use that Marvel app, I'm willing to bet you probably within the next year all of the comics and things like that uh of Black Panther past are going to be taken off, and they're going to be replaced with what they're going to put from this new comic series of T'Challa being dead going forward. But y'all let me know down in the comments. Again, I'm a casual watcher. I just happened to see that interview, and it made me, the way Ryan Coogler was giggling a little excessively and kind of dodging questions, and but he made sure that he talked about Denzel. Well, I don't have no issues with that, but he made sure that that dominated that portion. And again, these were clips. I'm gonna go back and watch a thing, and then I may have a different assessment after I watch it. But y'all tell me what y'all think. Do you think they are retconning T'Challa in Wakanda so that it will match Project 25 history? Bye.